All right, for the first half of the video, I kind of just want you to watch. And then when we get into the second half of the video, you can go ahead and partake in what I'm going to be showing you. So the one thing I do want you to do is go ahead, if you're in a Meterpreter shell, go ahead and change your directory and change it to C Windows temp and make sure you do your escaping like this. And I've gone ahead and downloaded a couple different tools. One tool that I've downloaded is WinPeas. So I'm going to go ahead and upload WinPeas. And all I'm going to just say is upload. And I just lost my shell. So let me go ahead and run that really quick and repop the shell. And we're going to upload it. And let's see the present working directory. Let me change it one more time. So Windows temp. And what we're going to do is we're going to upload. I've got it in root, downloads, and then I've got WinPeas here, .exe. Okay, and this is the x86 version. So then I'm just going to drop into a shell and I'm going to try to run this. And I'm going to go ahead and just say WinPeas.exe. And nothing happens. Why is nothing happening? Because it's likely that we do not have the 4.0 version of .NET, 4.0 or greater. So we're likely encountering an error. Nothing is happening here. We don't see all the pretty colors or anything that we saw before. All right, that's fine. Well, what about a tool like PowerUp? I could probably run PowerUp. Well, let me see if I can get into a PowerShell real quick. So I'll do PowerShell execution policy bypass. And then it just hangs. So I can type a command, who am I, anything, nothing's going to happen here. So we see sometimes in shells like this where this just hangs. So that's fine. Okay, well, maybe I can go back, and in Meterpreter, they have a load PowerShell feature. So I can load PowerShell, load the PowerUp file that I have, and just give it a go that way. Well, I tried to load PowerShell, and look what happens to me. It kills my Meterpreter session. Well, that's not very nice. So now I got to go get another Meterpreter session. So what we're up against here is we don't have the capability to run a executable. We don't have the capability to run a Meterpreter or PowerShell. So we're going to have to get creative. There's other tools out there. I just showed you 4 different ways to do this. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to get our shell back. And then what we're going to do is we're going to run the post exploit module from Metasploit that is a suggester. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to type right in here. We're going to say run post, and we can auto complete this. And then we just say post multi recon local exploit suggester. And it's going to collect all the data from this box, potential exploits here. I'm going to open up a text editor because I'm going to save this out. And I'm actually going to open up a couple tabs because there's a couple things I want to do. We're also going to drop into this box and we're going to grab system info. So while this is running, what I want you to do is I also want you to come into here and I want you to come into the Aon Cyber here. And so this is the Windows Exploit Suggester.py. Go ahead and download this. So if you need to, just go to Google, go to GitHub, Windows Exploit Suggester. Again, this was provided in the last video. Now, all we're going to do is just clone or download this. We're going to download the zip, and we're going to open with. And in case I did not make it clear, make sure that you run this as well. So now we're hands-on, we're doing other checks. But you can see here that look at all the different things that it comes back with as potentially vulnerable. This is a lot. And these are all, for the most part here, what are called kernel exploits. And we'll get to those in a little bit. So right now, we're just collecting information, okay? We're just running our tools. We'll get to the kernel exploit portion in just a minute. But we have a lot of options, right? A lot of options here. And what we're going to do is we're going to save these out. I just want to copy these, and then we'll also get information from our other tool. So we need to go into a shell, and we just need to pull down system info like this. Okay, just type in system info, go ahead and scroll up and copy everything, and then paste it into a document, and you can just save that out. So go ahead and save this. It's going to ask you, what do you want to save it as? And we're going to save it as, we'll just call it sysinfo.txt. Okay, and we're also going to extract the zip that we have. So let's go ahead and extract the Windows exploit suggester into our root. And if we go to the GitHub again, we scroll down a little bit, it says, hey, you need to run the exploitsuggester.py with update. So I'm just going to copy this. We're going to update the database. So let's open up a new tab, and I'm going to just do this. I'm going to cd to my root or wherever you save the file at, and I'm just going to paste this. So again, -- update. It says, hey, we've updated. Okay, what's the next step? It's going to say, hey, what's the database? So we need the database, and whatever that database just was. We also need to install the dependencies, actually. So we're going to do install Python XLRD, which is going to be pip install XLRD upgrade. So go ahead, copy and paste that. Now, you might have issues with pip being installed if you don't already have pip installed. So I'm going to go ahead and copy out a one-liner for you guys that I utilize to install pip. You might be able to use pip3, but just in case, here is that one-liner. Okay, I'm pasting it here. So it's going to be a curl, and then we're going to say https://bootstrap.pypa.io/git-pip.py. A -o, we're going to do a git-pip.py. Semicolon here, and then we're going to say python git-pip.py. Now I'll try running this. I've already got pip installed. You're going to see that it says, hey, successfully installing pip. That's fine, it just overwrote it. So make sure you install that if you do have a pip issue on your machine. If you already have pip installed, that's great. And then we're also going to do the pip install xlrd -- upgrade. Okay, so now from here, make sure you know what database you have. So we've got the XLS here, or the XLS, sorry. So we're going to say Windows exploit suggester.py, and we're going to follow the syntax that it has. So we need a -- database, -- database, and then we're going to say, let's see if it saved it out here. 2020, it did. And we also need to know the -- system info. So we're going to say -- system info, and we'll say sysinfo.txt, just like this. So we're going to go ahead and run this, and it's going to go and try to collect this, see what vulnerabilities are out there that might exist. And the nice thing is it updates. Look, we have an updated database here, and we know exactly what we're up against. So even more modern updates or more modern exploits may fall into here. So it identified Windows 7 32-bit, and you can see that it came up with some vulnerabilities for us to try as well. So we have different vulnerabilities. We can look up these different MS010 or 10015, for example, or 047, and see what's in here. And you can see a lot of these say, hey, Windows kernel, Windows kernel, Windows kernel. Well, that's a little bit of foreshadowing. We're going to get there here in just a second. So here's the takeaway. Let's take away in a big summary. There are a million tools that you can use out there. WinPeas is probably my favorite because it's just an executable that you can go out there and run. But as you saw, WinPeas doesn't work all the time. Okay, maybe we need to try something like PowerUp. PowerUp's a great tool as well. I would use WinPeas or PowerUp first. If you can't get PowerShell, if you can't get the executable to work, okay, there's still options. If you're in an environment where you don't have Metasploit, you can't use Metasploit, then you don't use Metasploit. You don't have the suggester. That's okay. There's this suggester. You run system info, you pull it down, you get this. There may be roadblocks. There's always going to be roadblocks. Windows PrivEsc, any PrivEsc is very difficult, and a lot of the times they make it intentionally difficult. They put in intentional roadblocks, so make sure that you know there's other options. There's always other paths. This box is vulnerable. It's meant to be exploited. You're going to figure it out. So the big takeaway, know your tools, have good notes. Again, as always, have good notes, write this stuff down, notate all the tools, go play with them. Play with them now. Put them in a lab environment, try them on your computer, do whatever you need to do, but play with these tools, understand what they do, why they're doing what they're doing. Okay? So take advantage of your time. There's no need to rush through this. Go play with these tools. Run them on Hack the Box, run them on anything, run them on the CTF, run them at home, figure out what they do, and utilize them. Now, in the next section, we're going to start working on our exploits. We're going to start talking about kernel exploitation and kind of just going from there. So we're starting to get into all the privilege escalation tactics. We're out of the enumeration portion, and I'm ready because we're about to start firing through all kinds of boxes and learning different tips and tricks, and it's really exciting. So I'm excited to see you over in the next video when we root this box a couple different ways, and then we'll move on to the next one and keep going from there. So I'll catch you over in the next section.